on the first Friday in April, the day before our gala event. Would everybody please stand? And we will recite together the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now also, while you're still standing, let us recite together the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Those of you who are either guest Rotarians or guests of Rotarians or Rotarians who have guests, keep on standing, and everybody else, please sit down. And
hi, I'm Frank, and I have quite a few guests with me. I have my wife, Katrina Jewell, who's a geospatial analyst down in Oklahoma. I have my father-in-law, Jack Jewell, who helped invent VCSELs, vertical cavity surface emitting lasers. They're basically in all your mice that have the lasers in them, cell phones, anything like that. Some, iPhones. Anyway, and Tina, his girlfriend, who's in the solar panel industry field. What was the name of the company? Independent Power Systems. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you, Frank. Do you all know that this man has a separate business making the very best olive oil in the whole world, available in Safeway stores, and the bad thing is that he changed the label, so I had trouble finding it, but it still is good olive oil.
And I have two guests today. This is Lindsay, she's in 7th grade, and Maddie is behind me in 5th grade. There we go.
Hi everybody, I have a guest today. Her name is Christine Verstrady, and she's here from... She's from HomeWatch Home Care Company, and they have been established in Boulder for 25 years?
Since 1994.
Since 1994. She's interested in learning more about Rotary and meeting new people.
Good afternoon, everyone, and my guest today is Mark, and most of him, and he, I think the mic went out. Mark works for NASA and with project, and my voice isn't very loud, so if the microphone isn't working, but anyway, Mark is here to hear Wayne, and he came all the way from Aurora, and he's excited to hear the talk today. Thank you.
Larry.
New friend, Raj Dagini. He's a freshman at the university. He's also involved in the Herd Leadership Council. He's studying neuroscience, and he's interested in an internship this summer. Virtually anything, but especially medical related. So if you know of anything, please look up Raj.
Oh my goodness, I even see a flag here. Tell us.
Hi, I'd like to introduce Bob and Amanda. They are visiting Rotarians from Wilmar, Minnesota, and they're here to check out CU for Amanda. And she's also looking at other colleges, but we hope that fails miserably because that means that we would get her and they wouldn't, and that would be great. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. On behalf of Boulder Rotary, there's our flag. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
And right here, Charlotte.
Hello, and I'd like to introduce Sterling Sawaya, who is the founder of Gene InfoSec, a company whose mission is to protect sensitive genetic information using molecular cryptography techniques, and we're hoping he'll sometime come and talk to about this at the club. And he is also interested in becoming a Rotarian. He was a guest here 2 weeks ago with Scott Hancock. So please come over and introduce yourselves, get to know him, and welcome him. Thank you.
Cinda.
Hi, I'm pleased that my guest today is my sister-in-law, Callie Carter.
And do you have a guest down there, or are you just stroking your chin? I guess just stroking your chin. Oh, one here? Okay.
This is my guest, Fatou, one of the most amazing women I've met in a long, long time. She works with a company called Agile International, and what they do is they actually purchase land for women in South Africa so that they could own their own land versus being slaves to the property owners, which is the system now. So a true worldwide paradigm shift in women empowerment.
Thank you. West Africa.
Is it West Africa?
Thank you for being here. Did I miss any visiting Rotarians or any people who have guests? Thanks for all joining us.
Great, thank you. Thank you for being here, everyone, in our first meeting of our 100th year. So this is great. Or 101th. I don't know, 101st. 101st meeting. So anyway, a couple of sad pieces of news to share with you, some recent losses. Member Jim Fitzgerald's mother passed away recently, so I'm sure that Jim would appreciate any phone calls or emails to him of condolence. Also, former member Ray Hauser died on March 31st. He was a longtime member, part of the music committee. He had 24 patents to his name in chemistry. Right now, the service information is pending. So Ray Hauser passed away on March 31st. So I'm very sorry to pass that on. So on Monday was our 100th anniversary, and so happy birthday to us again. We had a couple of big things happen this past week. On Tuesday, Marty and I received the proclamation from the city of Boulder as Boulder Rotary Day. So do we have a photo of that? There it is. We're receiving that from the Mayor Pro Tem, Sam Weaver, who will be at our gala tomorrow night. So that was a real honor for Marty and I on behalf of the club. Also on Monday, we have a video. It's a few minutes long, but I think it's so nice that we're going to spend a few minutes watching the video. So hit it.
Representative Hooton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Representative Liston to join me up here today. It's okay, Representative Liston. Things will get better.
Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, I have a tribute today in recognition of the Boulder Rotary Club's 100th anniversary. And I would like, if you don't mind, to have Mr. Randall read it at length.
The House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to the Rotary Club of Boulder on the occasion of their 100th anniversary. April 1st, 2019 marks the 100th anniversary of the founding of Boulder's Rotary Club. The club currently has 220 members that represent local business, government, education, and numerous other professions. They provide countless hours to address local and international needs. Boulder's Rotary Club is known for a number of signature programs, including Crayons to Calculators, which fills more than 10,000 backpacks a year with school supplies for students who need them. The club was also a leader in establishing Rotary's Preserve Planet Earth initiatives. Their fundraising prowess, in which every dollar raised is matched by the Rotary Foundation, has been used worldwide to help eradicate polio, work toward peace and conflict prevention, promote water sanitation, and economic and community development. The Colorado House of Representatives salutes Boulder's Rotary Club for their century of service to Colorado, and we wish them continued success in their mission to exemplify service above self. On request of Representative Edie Hooton, given this first day of April 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Hooton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I think most of you know that Rotary is an organization of professionals and business people in our local communities who have come together to identify charities that they would like to support domestically and internationally. They were the leaders in raising funding and awareness to eradicate polio. And I am very proud, active member of my own Boulder Rotary Club. It's really, it's worth your while. Those meetings are incredibly well organized and very informative. So if you haven't joined your local Rotary, I encourage you to do so. And I want to take one more moment to say congratulations to the Boulder Rotary Club on your 100th anniversary.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I too want to congratulate, that's quite a feat that the Boulder Rotary Club has been in existence for 100 years, because a lot of organizations, a lot of countries don't stay in existence for 100 years. So from the Colorado Springs Rotary Club, which we're now 103 years old, congratulations. And with that, fellow Rotarians, if you're in the room, we can do the four-way test, which is applicable to everybody. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Very good. Thank you.
Leonard, would you mind coming up there? Great. We're going to work on, each week, we've had a weekly vignette, our story told every single week. We only have a couple left. This is the second to the last. Is that right? Okay. So this one is called World Community Service.
And Sue will close us out next week. In a town where so many people travel the world, it's no surprise that Boulder Rotary has accomplished so many international projects. Our World Community Service Committee began in the Rotary year of 1976-77, starting with care to avoid mistakes and with relatively small contributions, according to the Rotary History Committee. Supporting an eye camp and hospital respirators in India, furnishing an orphanage in Nepal, and helping to repair an earthquake-damaged school in Chile. During the 1980s, the projects were more ambitious and demanded more commitment from club members, such as sending used medical and dental equipment to the Mexico City hospitals after an earthquake. The 1990s included the start of the Monte Medical Mission, a joint project of Boulder Community Health, First Presbyterian Church, and Boulder Rotary, treating 6,000 patients a week for 2 weeks each year for 20 years in the isolated and impoverished community. Also, Norris Hermsmeyer helped start the first Rotary Club in Tajikistan, as well as sister city projects there in Dushanbe. Norris, I saw you in the back there. Pete Steinhauer, who served in Vietnam, began the Friendship Bridge Project, returning many times with medical equipment and training, and bringing Vietnamese doctors here for training. Dick and Jean Bedell have spent many years volunteering in India, working on polio immunization, senior care, hospice care, and arm and leg prosthesis. And Jean is here today, and Dick as well, I think. Other recent projects led by our Rotarians, John and Lena Kotke have improved water and sanitation in Nicaragua. Daryl Brown helped to feed orphan children in Kenya and keep them in school. And Marika Meertens and the New Generations Rotary Club started Visionaria, now a successful nonprofit, to teach leadership skills to young Andean women. There are many, many others. Boulder Rotary's service above self changes lives locally and globally, and that is one of many reasons why we love it.
Alessandro, come on up.
Dear guests, dear Rotarian friends, dear supporters and followers of the World Community Service Committee, A few words and insight into our recently approved grants project, championed by our club, together with my co-champion, Dr. Juliet Harrington, and our precious technical and scientific expert, our hydrologists member, Dr. Lynn Johnson. The underlying motivation of this scalable distinct ground near us, and I spell us, capital U dot, capital S dot, is we can't save the world before our household is safe. We found the need. The beneficiaries is a large household near us. The district grant is called Oglala Lakota Sioux Nation Safe Drinking Water, Pine Ridge Reservation, South Dakota. The Pine Ridge Indian Reservation is part of the Great Sioux Reservation with a size of around 2.7 million acres. Imagine the size of Connecticut, with a population of approximately 30,000. Challenges facing this reservation include unemployment rate of 87%, 8 times US rate of diabetes, 5 times US rate of cervical cancer, 2 times US rate of heart disease, 8 times US rate of tuberculosis, 4 times rate of teen suicides, 3 times US rate of infant mortality, lowest life expectancy in the US. Many families have no electricity, telephone service, running water, or sewers, and must use wood-burning stoves to heat their homes. Lynn.
So in addition to all of those problems, they have, the focus of our project is on drinking water. It's evident that naturally occurring arsenic and uranium is pervasive on the reservation, and a number of the members of the tribe have household wells that are contaminated with high levels of arsenic that in some manner are related to these kinds of health problems. So there are activities underway on the reservation, historically funded, a large project by the federal government of piping water from the Missouri River over to the Pine Ridge Reservation, perhaps 250 miles. Massive project, and now the effort is to connect people to that treated water and to get them off of their local wells. So our project is directed to helping get people connected to the treated water supply system and working with the tribal authorities and the Indian Health Service to help enable that. So.
There are currently several thousand households on the waiting list to be connected. The grant is intended to leverage this tribal support to provide additional connections. The spirit and intention of our district grant project is to go beyond charity and work on a real change in how to address future grants project work. Juliet will provide additional insight.
Hello, everyone. Very pleased to be part of this ambitious project led by Alessandro. We have 3 phases to this project. Sorry, is this better? We have 3 phases to this project. I'm very, very pleased to announce that phase 1 has been accomplished. So we went out, we now have a district grant approved. We have made great contact and inroads with the local people, particularly led by Lynn here with one of the NGOs at Pine Ridge. We have identified the needs. We have identified different methods that can be used to solve some of these problems. And we're very pleased to be adopting Rotary's initiative, which is to be community-based assessments. So we aren't coming in and saying, this is what you need and this is what we'll give you. We have really put the research process into finding out what they truly need for bang for buck, I suppose. So phase 1 has been achieved with the research, the trusted contacts, and the district grants. Phase 2 is a template that can be a quantifiable, sustainable impact model. We've identified a very successful NGO, Water for Trees, led by engineer Dr. Eleanor Allen. They started as a $1 million NGO in Africa providing clean water to this country. Now, they had an input for at least 35% from the government or local institutions, and they then, when very successful, they were able to step back from that country after supplying great clean water to them. They then went to 7 other countries and replicated this model. They were able to quantify it by how many households they were able to provide clean water with, and it started from the very first project from 3 million, and they have now said that they've provided clean water to over 80 million. This quantifiable impact model is what we are going to be using ourselves. So we're looking at doing a template, and the district grant that we've now got for research, we're looking at adding other Rotary clubs who are not only in our area, but in other areas outside South Dakota where Pine Ridge is located. So the third phase is that if we can show a quantifiable sustainable impact model, whereupon Rotary can step away from each of these projects, we then have the great ability to contact other organisations such as foundations or larger NGOs and get outside grants for them to then go on to other Native American Indian reservations. Because this unfortunate tragic situation that has been going on for decades now, and the people, the Lakota Sioux people, have been asking for help for decades, also exists across many other reservations in North America. So putting the effort in that we did to phase 1 that we have achieved, I think is going to be very beneficial for phase 2, bringing the other Rotary clubs on board, and then we hope to replicate it at a larger scale. So we have many jobs now, and I tell you, anyone who wants to join us, we have a lot of fun. We will support in any jobs that we divvy out to people, as the same way that we're going to be divvying out our model to Rotary clubs according to a mapped grid system. So please do approach us, and we'll work on this together as one united Rotary club. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet, Lynn, and Alessandro. So proud of you. That is great. A lot of hard work. So TK, would you mind coming on up here and talking about the Rotary Foundation, which helps with all these types of grants? You good? All right.
Of course. Thank you. Good afternoon. It's been suggested that there could be some confusion about foundations, RI Foundation, Rotary Club Foundation, so my goal today is to clarify, and if I'm successful, you will be happy, and if I'm not, you will tell me. So what I've started here at the top is to start with the parent organizations and their legal name. So Boulder Rotary Club, that's our legal name, Rotary International, and the next line is sort of the nickname that we use when we just refer to these. New people will find it, this I hope, helpful, and even our more seasoned members may be familiar with these nicknames. The second part of the slide speaks to the foundations. Again, the legal name, but the nickname. For example, in Boulder Rotary, we just refer to it as the Club Foundation. We aren't very specific. Americans are pretty happy with nicknames. So I've indicated when they were established. So if you go to the next slide. This gives you a little bit of history, and now we're going to get in the weeds a little bit with the IRS, sadly. Boulder Rotary and Big Rotary are 501c4s. These are social welfare organizations, in case you were not familiar with that term. But you are quite often familiar with a 501c3 designation, which means contributions to a 501c3 are tax deductible. That's pretty advantageous and somewhat inspirational. So if we go to the next slide, please. Here I've tried to look at the two organizations and their geographic focus. Generally speaking, Boulder Rotary's focus is Boulder and Boulder County, whereas, of course, the rest of the foundation is the world. But what you've just heard, two really good examples of projects that are beyond, it's an interest in this club, but interest in the U.S.,
in the case of South Dakota, and you heard earlier about Nicaragua. So this club is not restricted to interest in Boulder and Boulder County, but that's the primary focus. And I've given some illustrations of projects or activities that you have heard about or be familiar with. And the bottom part is to just touch on the way they're funded without getting too deep, but some idea of where the money comes from that we use in the club, Boulder Rotary Club Foundation. And of course, you're already familiar with some of the international. If we'll go to the last slide, we have these different levels that what I want to focus on down below of recognition. And the people are probably not as familiar with the club recognition. About in 1993-94, Steve Whitehead, who had been the president of the club, thought we ought to have a foundation, and he put the initial money in, $25,000, to get the club started. Now, many members have added to that, and we now have, I think, a subset within the club foundation devoted to education in a bigger sense. But it's been a history of scholarships, and that's really been the strength. But we do other things, and you've heard about those. But the recognition levels top out at the Steve Whitehead Fellow at, if you've contributed $10,000 cumulatively, then you become a Steve Whitehead Fellow, and sometimes that's on our badge. And I think we've already spoken about Paul Harris Fellows, major donors. We haven't talked much about the Arch Clump Society, but I believe that starts at $250,000, and they're welcoming new members. So thank you.
Okay, greetings. I'm here to make a request on behalf of a very small committee that's working on a very fun project for our 100th anniversary. And this whole project is called An Infinite Walk of Peace, which will go along the north side of the Boulder Creek, close to the library, end up winding around in front of the Sister City Plaza, which is in the front of the municipal building. So what we've been doing is, the idea is as you walk in this space, all of your senses will be touched. And we've been collecting wonderful quotes from people throughout history, Nelson Mandela, et cetera, that will be present. And then we got to thinking about what would children say if they were asked about peace? And so with agreement from the parents and from the school, which is Whittier International, we have some 30+ quotes, illustrations, and they are amazing. It's quite profound. And so we are looking to put this together in a book. And so my request from you is anyone in the room that knows anything about publishing, if we could just take a look at a lot of options to see which is the best one to take. So please be in touch with me, pass me a note or whatever, because that's information that we need now. Thank you so much.
All right, Joanne, why don't you come on up? It's obvious we have a very active club, so many things going on, and proud that we're going to hear from one of our members as well. So, Joanne?
All right.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Wayne. Okay, we've got an announcement video.
Hello, Rotarians and guests, and thank you for being here today.
April is Maternal and Child Health Month in Rotary. Hey, Sally, what's going on this weekend?
Let me try to mansplain it to you, Daryl.
Okay, thanks. I think I understand. Hey, and Anne Marie Reeder is still looking for hosts for the Rotary Come Home Dinners on Saturday, June 22nd 5 to 6 people will be hosting a themed dinner for 4 to 8 of their fellow Rotarians. It's going to be a great time. Be a host.
Join us to hear Janine Dianabal on April 8th. She'll be speaking about how trauma can be treated. She's a very dynamic and knowledgeable speaker, so join us for the 3rd lecture in this spring's mental health series offered by BRC, Boulder Community Health, Mental Health Partners, and Boulder Valley Rotary. That's April 8th at 6:30 p.m. at the JCC.
Who else likes Led Zeppelin? Well, the Jamfest Fundraiser that Interact does each year is going to be held on April 19th at Boulder High School. All proceeds go to Attention Homes, and it's $5 per person. A great and fun evening.
Support your Interact Club. What a great birthday party we had last week, celebrating our past, present, and our 100 years.
I'm so sorry, Chad Stam. And we've been pretty focused on our 100 years, but I want to remind everybody that the district conference is Saturday, April 27th, 2019. Register for the conference now, and registration closes April 19th. It's a one-day conference and sure to be a lot of fun.
Our goal for the Club 1919 campaign is 100% participation from club members. If you haven't signed up yet, please join us in this donation.
Donations to the Rotary Club Foundation will be accepted through 2150. However, we'd prefer that you join the Club 1919 this year.
Join us for next week's program to be inspired by James Jackson. Project Cure. Purpose, passion, and people.
Nothing says springtime like Bill Burton dancing in the mountains.
Say it with me now.
Have a great weekend.
All right. Great video, guys. What I loved about last week, Darryl, was that from now on, whenever anything goes wrong, we're just going to blame you. And so we asked him to help us out with some of our audio-visual things here at the beginning of the meeting, and it's all his fault. So come on up, Karen. All right. We have one new member, and 2 who have been with us for the last 6 months we'd like to reintroduce. Okay, come on up, guys.
Gary Kahn introduced me to Karen because he knew we were both dealing with a parenting issue and he felt we could support each other. And when I met her, I instantly recognized a Rotarian at heart with all of her energy and commitment to making the world a better place. And I also saw that having recently completed her political campaign, she was looking for a new way to make a contribution. And what better place to focus that energy than into Rotary? I'm delighted she's agreed to join the club.
Yeah, we're so delighted we're having 2 people to introduce her instead of 1. So Diana and I are partnering in this. Karen attended college at the University of Florida and went on to receive her doctorate veterinary science there. And she's been a veterinarian for 33 years, 17 of which have been in Boulder. Year after year, the clinic that she operated received, it was called Alpine Hospital for Animals. It received the Best in Boulder award from the community, year after year. Top-notch veterinarian. Karen tells me that she is one of the lucky ones to have had a career where the work never felt like work and was incredibly rewarding. And the animals she treated felt the same way. I've talked to them.
Karen volunteers as an English as a second language teacher for Intercambio in Boulder County. She's a board member on 2 animal advocacy groups. Recently, she joined the Citizens Climate Lobby to take on the worldwide challenge of climate change. Karen loves to read, hike, and take long walks with her dogs. She is married to Greg Perry. They have 3 adult children who are the loves of her life.
So I had an inspiring conversation with Karen as she was running for Congress. And it was about her father. And I bring that in for a reason. And so I want to tell you a little bit about her father because it gives you insight into why Karen will be such an incredible member of our club. And that she has such high integrity and principle that she lives by. Karen's father was Rear Admiral in the U.S. Navy and commanded an aircraft carrier, one of those really large ones. The thousands of servicemen and women who reported to him could count on him being a man of his word, consistent in his dealings with all the crew, from the highest officers to the very newest green new recruit. He treated them all with respect and dignity, coupled with an unshakable commitment to quality in his work. When Karen was talking about her dad, I immediately started to see Karen in her description of her father. And I want you to know the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree.
Meryl and I are honored to welcome Karen into our club.
The Olympics. Okay. Come on over, guys. Survive the hazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my real pleasure to reintroduce Pete Parkinson to our club. Pete graduated from Cal Poly, where he got his degree in construction management. Pete, his wife Katie, and their 2 children moved to Boulder in 2004. Pete has worked in the land development and permitting world since he moved to Colorado. First locally in master plan residential area, then large industrial development across North America. For the last 9 years, he's been developing large-scale solar power across the United States. In what little spare time he has, Pete loves to ski and travel with his family, in spite of the fact that he spends most of his career traveling. After joining Boulder Rotary in October, Pete joined the Rotaract and Awards committees. Last week, when Mike told us about how well we're doing with membership, I turned to Pete as a new member and asked if what Mike said was his experience, an organization that is fun and engaging. Pete said, "I love this club." What could be more affirming? Please join me in re-welcoming Pete Parkinson to Boulder Rotary.
What a delight it is to have the transition from just worker bee to super worker bee for Carrie Power. She exemplifies the wisdom of George Eliot from the 19th century, who said, "What do we live for if it's not to make life less difficult for each other?" She was born and raised and had her early career in Silicon Valley in California. And 3+ years ago, we rescued her. She, at the age of 24, started her own startup company. And it was so prodigious that it collected data and analyzed it and gave it back to the San Francisco 49ers. And after playing in technology companies in Silicon Valley, she has come to Boulder, and she's part of a new startup that has exciting revolutionary implications in finding ways to reverse dyslexia. And so I could go on with my 25 pages of biography, but I'll leave it to you for your homework to get to know Carrie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a winning raffle number right here. So grab the ticket, your ticket that you bought, to see if your number matches mine. 225-1393. 1393. Who's got it? Yay, all right, Valerie, I'll pay you out a little bit later. Regarding the gala tomorrow, it is at 5:30. It's going to be a wonderful evening. There's free parking. There's going to be I don't know if I mentioned this in an earlier meeting, but Steve Tebow was gracious enough to loan us a year 1919 Cadillac that will be out front of the St. Julian. So if you want your photo taken with it, come a few minutes early. We will have a professional photographer for the whole evening. So come early if you want your photo there with the Cadillac. 5:30 are cocktails, 6:30 dinner. The door is open at dinner, and it's going to be a wonderful program. So hopefully I'll see you there. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.